Hello, everybody. I hope you all are having a beautiful day. I haven't made any videos in a while in terms of like talking on camera. I've been doing a lot of retro gaming and working and stuff, so I've just been kind of taking a break from the whole camera. I tried to stay away from religion in the past. I talked a little bit about religion and how people are mingling ancient religion and history and mingling like a lot of magic and ideas and fantasies into try to mingling it into reality, which caused a lot of confusion and whatnot. In the past, I've talked about a lot of the history with Christianity, Islam, Catholicism, these major religions that walk the earth today. But predominantly in this video, I really want to talk about like trends, social trends, changing of times. Um, Something that's been going on recently, this fight that happened in Alabama, the way this co-captain was attacked by all these different men, it was unsettling at first. I'm like, so they just gonna jump this man like it's the 60s. But then when I saw the rest of the video and all these people came to help him, I was excited. I was like, man, that's crazy. One thing about it though, I'm happy they was able to defend old dude. But when they hitting that lady with the chick, because I think she was trying to stop the fight. I'm just telling y'all what I saw. I think she's trying to stop the fight, and y'all hit a lady in the head with the chair. I don't know. That's kind of shaky to me. But other than that, you know what I mean. I'm glad people came together to help defend their community and whatnot. But I just want people to understand you have to imagine, like in some of my videos, I have a video called Caucasian Grooming and a couple of videos called Broken NPCs and stuff like that. There's a trend in this country where basically certain people can do certain things and not get in trouble. Before cell phones came out, the police and a lot of injustice was really tearing up the African American community, my community. The thing is, though, after cameras came out and after cell phones came out, then you're seeing a lot of this stuff exposed and brought into the light. And so then basically people are getting exposed. What I wanted to talk about is the audacity of somebody punching a worker, telling the public to not park somewhere or put their boat somewhere. Okay, so in my mind, first of all, already, if somebody's security or a captain or anything, whatever they are with a company, you're supposed to adhere to what they're telling you unless it's like dangerous to life, like if they're telling you to do something wrong. So if I'm out with my family in a boat and the people that own the boat, the harbor, whatever, tell me to move my boat, I'm gonna have to move my boat. What I want to talk about is the audacity of the situation. These men felt so. This is when I use words like privileged or out of touch with reality. They felt so. They felt like it was so okay to go up and assault and jump a worker for what? Was it the money? Was it the skin color? A lot of times people will put their own ideologies into it, but I look at the whole situation. I think it's both. I think it's a bunch of rich, entitled white men. They went to go beat the hell out of a black man because you have to think about the past. And this is why when people say slavery is a long time ago and that's ancient history stuff, the problem with people who think like that is that you're not looking at cause and effect and you're not looking at a basic timeline. And so if I raise my kids all their lives that white people are bad, when they turn into grandparents, there might be a slight chance that they change, but more than likely the family ideology is that this is bad. And so what you're looking at with the audacity of that is back in the day before all these cameras and social media and stuff, this stuff would happen all the time. It's like a catch 22 or irony. You see a lot of people in the world, we call it conspiracy theories, but you see a lot of people in the world now in this day and age talking about the corporate world's out to get us, the government world's out to get us, it's all against us in America and blah, 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 and it's not really free. Well, see, the irony of people doing that is that African Americans and immigrants have been saying that for years. But for years, people say, oh, you guys are lazy, you don't want to work right, you don't want to. I'll give you an example why you don't understand somebody else's story. And sometimes when they witness something to you, you should listen to what they're saying, and then you might better understand the world. So I could have a friend that I grew up with all my life, a white friend, and we could go back and forth and we could grow up together and be the best of friends. But then as we're adults, I could go my way, he goes his way. Now, I'm going to explain something to somebody, some of the things that's happened to me throughout time. Let's say I'm at a job site, whether it's through a temp agency or I actually get hired on. A lot of times the worst was through temp agencies because being from Illinois, well, what happened is when I go through a temp agency, most of the workers, the facility, the warehouse, the fact, whatever, the drop, it's mostly Caucasian people. Well, the thing is, what we see out in the media, like the stuff in the news and all this equality, equality, free, free, free. You have to you have to understand that that is the main media. That's not the individuals within the country. So a lot of times what you run into is people be really sweet in your face, especially when you're African American. I'm just giving you my I'm witnessing what I experience. A lot of times people be sweet in your face, but then they'll go behind your back and say little small things. Oh, you see how he's talking. Oh, you see how he's doing that. Oh, you see how he's ooh. And then eventually what you'll run into is you can work as hard as you want, but you'll still be like, it'll still be like, oh, he's not working hard enough. He's not doing this right. He's not doing that right. He's supposed to be cleaning this, but he's doing that. Well, then take the flip side of what I've experienced. I'd see a white man come in and like barely do some work. I mean, just the basics. And people all around be like, oh, he's such a good worker. He's such a good worker. I heard he's got a family. He's a good working family man. It's like they're getting it's like they're getting a universal praise from the community, while other people in the community, for small, petty reasons, are seen as detrimental. I'll give you another example. Last job I was at. I'm not going to say what the company's name is, but I was at a job where I was working in shipping. And when I was working in shipping, I was moving boxes a lot of times. And there's another department right next to us. We moved their boxes too, called specialty. Well, there was this Hispanic man that came in into specialty, and he was doing a job, working, putting the boxes together, doing all stuff. To me, from an outsider, and I know what specialty do because I work at the job. I was observing things, and they'd be like, "Well, he's not moving fast enough," or "Well, he's blah blah blah." They would say little negative things about him. Well, then they moved him to another department, and they hired a black man in. Well, the manager for that department, he would wear hats that would be creased and stuff, and wear the wife beaters and like the camouflage all the time. Real country dude. He'd be like, "Oh, this dude is running real slow. He's in the wrong spot." Just talking about him real bad. And I'm observing what they're doing at the job and how they're working and how the lines move. Well, then the third man they hired was a white man, and he wore the little hats too, and he would have on the wife beaters and stuff, wear a lot of camouflage. I'm telling you, it's like you got to be from Illinois to know what I'm talking about, I guess. Well, he came in there and he's doing the exact same thing as the other guys. Well, they moved the other two guys to quality and had them just checking parts because they were like, oh, they're not working right on the line. Well, the third dude that came in, he's such a good worker. He's putting the boxes together and he's understanding the job right. So then I started to notice just like people say things like get a job or do this and do that, but they're not taking into account the community that they're trying to get the job in. You see, some people will get jobs just like that and they'll have a decent job making a 60, 70, 80 grand a year. Then you see other people having to constantly go to temp agencies or having to constantly get hired in their low positions and they're stuck there for years and years and won't see raises. Like and it's not just African Americans. What people fail to realize is I've seen extremely poor Caucasians that get the same treatment. Extremely poor white people, black people, and immigrants. And I'm not gonna just say it's like that all the time because white people get a lot of leeway in that type of situation. But what I'm saying is this boat situation in Alabama, the audacity of the situation is what you're dealing with from the everyday citizens, from a lot of people, especially down south. And I'm not just going to throw that stigma. It's everywhere. It's up north too. You basically have to act a certain way, behave a certain way, be on your toes, mind your P's and Q's as an immigrant or somebody that's outside of the community, African American. Meanwhile, when you're a part of the community, it's like you can do whatever you want and there's no trouble from it. Not to bring in my situation, but I'm going to. I recently went to the hospital because I had a panic attack of my own recognizance. I went in there myself. Well, somehow in between Heritage tells me they're going to involuntary me to a facility in another city, and I'm like, I'm a CNA at a psych facility. No, you're not going to involuntary me. You don't have the right to. You have to get a court order from the state first of all in Illinois. And I was like, I've been laying in this bed for a day and a half. I just want to talk to a psychologist or something or somebody. I want to talk to somebody real quick, a therapist. And the lady's arguing me, telling me I don't have a choice and all sorts of stuff. So I go to walk out of the hospital and get body slammed from behind by security guards. Then I get handcuffed and put in the bed and they sedated me. When I wake up in jail telling me that I'm facing an aggravated battery and I could face 4 to 7 years. When I asked for the hospital footage, because it happened by the nurse's station in the middle of the emergency room, they said there's no camera footage. The public defender who's helping me said every case that she's ever dealt with where somebody assaults somebody in the hospital, they have footage, except this case. What? I work in healthcare. There's no logical, plausible reason for me to attack somebody. So what I'm telling you is there's a spirit of audacity where people feel like it's the right thing to do. I've had people come up to me multiple times and tell me, oh, you're smarter than others, or you really intelligent. For the most part, what we notice is black people aren't smart. I mean, just there's people will say all kind of things. And then when you try to give your testimony, or when you try to explain this to other people, uh, racism isn't real, this stuff isn't real, blah blah blah. But it is real, and I've been saying this throughout my videos. I've said a bunch of things in my videos, and ironically, a lot of it has come true. I said Mind Trump and Kanye the Gestapo in one of my videos, and then Kanye came out praising Hitler. You know what I mean? It's just a lot of random stuff that people are going to start seeing more and more. And when the rest of the world gets a hold of this stuff, they're going to see America for what it truly is. I've said this multiple times. I don't understand World War II. We went over to Germany to stop Nazism, but America's doing the same thing, and it has been for years and years and years. And now it's getting out on camera, and so people are starting to see these things. Um, Big shout out to anybody in other cultures that's helping African Americans and helping us with our plight and seeing what's going on. I'm seeing a lot of African Americans. I call her Clandis Owens and Terrence Williams, K. Williams, or something like that, and then the conservative twins. They search for negative stories about black people to ridicule us to entertain Caucasians. I can't make this stuff up. And then so you basically got your own community attacking you, and then another larger community trying to destroy you with lies and false propaganda. And so, I've been, after seeing this, what happened, what they did to the security guards, I just been like, wow, like some people have the audacity and get away with it, while other people are innocent and continue to get locked up in this perpetual system. It's, it's menacing. You know what I mean? The other day when I went to work, a SUV followed me to work. They sat in the same parking lot and they sat there for like 8 minutes, turned off their lights, and turned it back on and drove out the parking lot. Meanwhile, I was sitting in the parking lot the whole time waiting for work, trying to eat my food. You know what I mean? It's like the more this stuff gets out, I've been seeing a lot of dashboard cameras, my African American community and anybody else. I implore people to get these dash cams, you know what I'm saying, to protect yourself from these traffic stops. That level of audacity that you saw in the Alabama brawl from those people jumping that one man doing his job is what it is like in America in a lot of places. We have to deal with lingering spirits from old. And every time people feel like the past isn't the present, they're missing out on history. And that's why they don't understand why I'm seeing a lot of people saying in this day and age, somebody said if the roles were reversed. The roles were reversed. Are y'all not seeing what's happening? It's because the media doesn't talk about it. So, you know, uh, I hope you all can stay safe out here. I hope you all can find peace and solace. I'm really glad that people came to help that man from getting jumped. That's crazy. That's the type of stuff that hurts me and mess up my anxiety. You see all these stories about either the news saying, that's why I can't watch the news no more. The only thing that I look up all these crimes, and I mean the amount of crimes that get done, unbelievable. You don't know about them though. But then they'll show all the news shooting, 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 African American shooting. It's like they're trying to make people afraid of us. You guys, the news isn't some universal truth that knows everything. The news is a corporation that is owned by a lot of other shell corporations and entities and shareholders that have basically a major shareholder, and they tell them what to do and what to show. And what it does is it belittles one community while making another community feel like they are more righteous. And as I've said before, you guys can try to put whatever you want in the news, but what's going to happen is each of these individuals are going to behave how they behave, and more of it is going to get caught. People talking about all these Karens are walking into businesses and snapping. What are y'all talking about? If you're from America, this has been since forever. People asking for assistant managers and hollering and cursing at staff members and acting a nut in these restaurants. It's what happens. And some people get away with it while other people get beat up and ridiculed for no reason. So, just, I guess, stay safe the best you can and live your life and work hard. And y'all need to understand where a lot of these other people are coming from, because when people say the police are after them, and when people say that these corporations are crooked and the world's crooked, the curriculum that they're teaching in Florida, my goodness, y'all are sick. So y'all call it critical race theory. I don't know why y'all giving stuff these names. What they do is Fox News and these other conservative stations and other racists give names to certain things and movements to try to belittle them. Critical race theory? Are y'all dumb? This is the irony of stupidity. A certain people came up with the idea and construct of race. destroyed another group of people with that construct for almost 400 years. And now that the world can see what they're doing, they're like, oh, the ones we oppressed are the racist ones, critical race theory. What? Okay. Like, I don't know if y'all are crazy or if y'all are nuts. And so I just don't know. It does not compute illogical. So whatever's going on, whoever's in control or doing all this, I gotta tell you, karma is insane, and it's gonna come back in a way that you can't stop it. As if you couldn't tell with this stuff that's going on now. So, alrighty then, have a beautiful life, and a lot of you religious people. Another thing I'm starting to see, guys, like I'll see like people arguing back and forth, especially in videos, and like it'll be like a Christian versus somebody or a Muslim versus somebody or what Hindu, whatever. When somebody asks you for evidence or proof for something and why it's real, going into your book and saying a scripture does not give it the evidence. What you're doing is you're going inside the fantasy to pull out more fantasy. It's called real world experiences. And so just continue to try to grow and understand. I keep telling people will be like, God's going to save us from these oppressors. And what you're doing when you do that is you're taking away from all your natural ability and talent. You just stepped out the fight and you said you're going to let God do it. And then not only what you do is the same people that is oppressing you brought you God. I'm telling you they did. The word God comes from Gudon, Germanic paganism from the Anglo-Saxons. It is so anybody that's willing to, people call it waking up and stuff, and now they're calling it wokeism and attacking left and right and all that. Anybody with common sense who can understand, please stop being belittled and controlled by the media. Think of your brain like an empty piece of paper, and everything you intake is writing on your paper, and you're rereading the essay and gargling and parroting the same garbage that's being given to you instead of sitting somewhere, taking the information, thinking about it critically, applying it to the real world, and then logically using it to survive. Okay, so that's why I don't completely hate religion. We all have some form of religion because we all, in a detriment space, think of like light or somebody's going to help me or after this there has to be something better. No matter how you think of it, everybody has a religion. I just don't like when it becomes oppressive, mind controlling, and destructive. So stay beautiful, stay blessed, and defend yourselves.